In the realm of brilliance, certain individuals captivate us as visionary pioneers. Bernie Madoff was one such figure on Wall Street, not merely a top trader, but the personification of financial success. His seemingly flawless returns elevated him as a world-leading fund manager, yet his investment circle required personal connections and trust to enter. As Nasdaq's chairman, he revolutionized trading, crafting a multi-billion-dollar empire that stood as an icon of achievement. However, beneath this impressive facade lay a monumental deception. When exposed, it revealed the world's largest Ponzi scheme at $65 billion, shattering an illusion and redefining infamy. Mr. Wall Street. In 1960, Bernie Madoff launched his investment firm with $5,000 earned as a lifeguard and an additional $50,000 from his father-in-law, roughly $480,000 today. To stand out against larger firms, Madoff embraced technology, pioneering electronic trading over traditional human traders. This tech-driven focus allowed his firm to offer cost-effective services, securing a notable portion of market transactions. Estimates suggest 5 to 10% of New York trades once passed through his firm. The rise of electronic trading innovations in 1971 coincided with the birth of the Nasdaq, now the world's second-largest stock exchange. Madoff became its chairman in the early 1990s. It was an immensely respected position. While Wall Street was enraptured by the mystique of Madoff, the true happenings behind the walls of his empire remained largely hidden. Yet, some few had an inkling of the truth. The Investigator. Meet Harry Markopolos, a sharp-eyed financial fraud investigator with a knack for numbers. Back in the 90s, Harry was navigating the financial seas as a portfolio manager at Rampart Investment Management. In 1999, whispers reached Harry's firm about a hedge fund manager who consistently scored a dazzling 1 to 2% profit every month. This mysterious money magician was Bernie Madoff. Curious and intrigued, Harry's firm tasked him with the challenge of unraveling Madoff's seemingly magic formula to replicate it at Rampart. Little did Harry know, he was on the brink of unraveling Wall Street's most colossal charade. It took Harry a mere 5 minutes to scrutinize Madoff's revenue patterns and realize something was fishy. The returns were mysteriously steady, too steady for comfort. Whether the market soared or plummeted, Madoff somehow always turned a profit, defying financial logic and gravity alike. Convinced that Madoff's returns were more illusion than reality, Harry noticed they appeared immune to market ebbs and flows, which was highly unusual for legitimate trading. Armed with skepticism, Harry developed 2 theories. Curious to know what they are, Harry conjured 2 intriguing possibilities. Was Bernie Madoff pulling the strings with secretive insider information, or was he orchestrating one of the largest Ponzi schemes the financial world had ever seen? How did the scheme work? A Ponzi scheme, at its core, is deceivingly straightforward. Investors entrust their money to Madoff, who then assures them of impressive returns. But these returns are a mirage, mere portions of the investor's original money, cleverly disguised as profits. Inevitably, the cash well runs dry, and Madoff must lure fresh investors to keep the cycle alive. The scam balloons, as on paper, investors believe they're thriving with Madoff's firm. In reality, their funds are being funneled into Madoff's own accounts, while payouts to earlier investors maintain the illusion. It sounds almost too absurd to be true. How did such a massive scheme go undetected, especially among the brightest financial minds? This was Madoff's skill, an expert manipulator who thrived on deception. Challenging the man, considered a cornerstone of modern Wall Street, was no easy feat. As Harry delved deeper into Madoff's puzzle, glaring mathematical discrepancies hit him. He calculated that for Madoff's strategy to succeed, he would have to execute more options on the Chicago Board of Options Exchange than physically existed. Plus, there was not a shred of evidence of any transactions linked to Madoff's firms on the exchange. Harry embarked on a quest, speaking to a dozen equity firms, only to find that none had crossed paths with Madoff's trades. This peculiar silence revealed a staggering truth. Madoff hadn't executed a single trade since 1993, if not earlier. In 2000, armed with his suspicions and a constellation of red flags, Harry approached the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. However, without concrete evidence, his compelling theory couldn't spark an investigation. Harry wasn't alone in his suspicions. Years later, he disclosed that an undercurrent of doubt ran through Wall Street. Many were wary of Madoff, but no one was willing to voice their concerns. As Harry put it, people in glass houses don't throw stones. By 2005, Harry had unearthed even more red flags, finally prompting the SEC to launch an investigation in 2006. But Madoff, with his deep connections, had an edge. He was even invited occasionally to offer his insights to the SEC, ensuring his facade remained intact. Madoff's team had mastered the art of deception. Former staff confessed to chilling forged documents to fool auditors into thinking they weren't freshly minted. The investigation fizzled out 11 months later, citing insufficient evidence. Brazenly, Madoff lauded the SEC, stating, "In today's regulatory environment, it's virtually impossible to violate the rules." His audacity seemed to know no bounds. With the collapse of subprime mortgages in the US, trillions vanished from stock markets, plunging the global economy into chaos. Panic spread like wildfire as investors scrambled to salvage what they could. Madoff knew the jig was up. Without a fresh influx of capital, and with clients demanding their original investments back, his empire teetered on the brink. Desperate for a last-minute lifeline, he pulled every lever he could. Madoff concocted Madoff Securities International, a shadowy London subsidiary with 0 clients, which mysteriously funneled $164 million in November. Billionaire Carl Shapiro threw in $250 million at December's onset, followed by another $10 million infusion days later. In a frantic gambit, Madoff circulated a 19-page booklet detailing a new investment scheme, appealing to all of Wall Street for cash. Yet, it was like trying to fill a sinking ship with a bucket. The outflow was insurmountable. Investors demanded their money back immediately, and, simply put, Madoff didn't have it. Facing an insurmountable wall, Madoff chose to come clean. There was no dramatic escape attempt, no futility in hiding. The game was over. A staggering $65 billion had evaporated, leaving thousands in its wake. Madoff had been juggling this colossal scam alongside a legitimate business, one involving his sons, Mark and Andrew. In a final ironic twist, he proposed distributing a $200 million bonus to staff 2 months early amidst the financial carnage. When his sons questioned the sanity of such a move, Madoff laid bare the truth of his Ponzi scheme and his plan to surrender after the bonuses were paid. For Mark and Andrew, it was a bombshell they claimed they never anticipated. Fearing complicity in their father's grand deception, they acted swiftly, notifying a lawyer and exposing their father before he could disperse the ill-fated bonuses. The facade had finally crumbled. Madoff's arrest came swiftly at his home, and soon he found himself under house arrest on bail. As he and his wife Ruth sat together on Christmas Eve, the enormity of their crumbling world settled heavily upon them. In a desperate escape attempt, they laid down and took a cocktail of prescription medications. But Christmas Day brought an awakening. They had survived, and Madoff now faced the grim reality of life behind bars. With no fight left, Madoff confessed to his staggering misdeeds, expressing remorse without a hint of justification. His $65 billion deceit wiped out fortunes from billionaires to the retirement dreams of everyday Americans. Amidst an already shattered economy, countless individuals saw their life savings vanish into thin air. Madoff pleaded guilty and received a 150-year sentence, transforming from a financial titan into inmate number 61727-054 at a medium-security prison in North Carolina. Now, 81, he will spend the rest of his life there. Meanwhile, both of his sons have passed away, Mark by suicide in the scandal's aftermath, and Andrew due to cancer. Ruth, his lifelong partner, no longer speaks to him. Though Bernie has the chance for a daily 15-minute phone call, he chooses silence, as he claims there's no one left to call. The cautionary tale of Bernie Madoff serves as a stark reminder. Letting greed take the reins isn't worth the ultimate price. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the content, and share it with friends who might find it interesting.